All right, another spark and another build. The craft begins once more. Today we're moving beyond the colossal titans themselves and looking at the characters who stand beside them.
The support crew, the specialists, the very guildmates that make your engine run.
We are talking, of course, about ally cards. But before we begin, one must learn how to play Tools and Titans.
So how do you play Tools and Titans, Toolin?
Easy. Draw your cards, charge your energy, build your field, act with your powers, clash with your titans, end your turn.
6 steps, 1 epic battle. Now, on to the ally cards. These aren't the fleeting EchoForms, the ones that flicker in and out of existence. Allies are persistent. They are the loyal companions who stay on the board, offering their skills turn after turn.
Exactly. Think of them as your trade guildmates, your dedicated apprentices,
Or even spirit-bound artificers who have pledged their expertise to your cause. They are here to reinforce your efforts, carry the load, or even take a hit for the team.
Today we're doing the definitive deep dive. We're calling this one Dash, Companions of the Forge.
We'll unpack what ally cards are, the role they play, and how to master them to give your deck a quiet but unbreakable backbone.
So let's start with the absolute basics. Where do allies fit in the grand scheme of things? You have your main titan, the star of the show. You have your tools, structures, and tasks. And then you have this unique card type.
Allies are a dedicated support system. Their primary role isn't to deal massive damage, but to make everything else you do better.
They add recursion, provide crucial utility, or help you progress your tasks. They're the grease in the gears of your deck's machine.
And they live in a very specific place on the field, right? The ally zone.
And it's prime real estate because you only get 2 slots. That limitation is key. It means your choice of which 2 allies to field is a massive strategic decision.
A huge decision. It forces you to consider your deck's primary and secondary needs. You can't cover every weakness. You have to choose what matters most.
And once an ally is on the field, they stay there. Unlike EchoForms, they don't fade away automatically. They persist.
Until they're destroyed by an opponent, or until you choose to recall them for a specific effect. This makes them reliable, but also a potential target.
Let's dig into that persistence for a moment. In a game as dynamic as TNT, having a constant, predictable effect on the board is invaluable. It's a strategic anchor.
Exactly. While your opponent is dealing with your immediate threats, your tools, your titan, your allies are in the background, quietly accumulating value, drawing you an extra card each turn, generating a crucial resource, making your other plays more efficient.
So how do they actually function? When do you play them?
You play an ally card during your action phase. Simple. You place it into one of those 2 precious ally zone slots. From that point on, its abilities are active.
And those abilities can be wildly different. The sourcebook breaks them down into 3 main types: passive, activated, or reactive.
A passive ability is always on. It might be something like Dash Dash. Your Fireweave cards cost 1 less charge to play. It just sits there, giving you constant value. No cost, no activation. It just works.
Then you have activated abilities. These usually have a cost. You might have to spend a charge token or tap the ally card to trigger a specific effect, like drawing a card or reclaiming something from the junkyard.
These activated abilities are where you get more tactical control. It's not just a constant bonus. It's an effect you choose to use at the most opportune moment. It's a tool in your toolbox.
And finally, reactive abilities.
My favorite. They are the gotcha moments. These abilities trigger in response to something else happening, usually something your opponent does. An ally that can intercept a damage trigger, or cancel a flux card that targets your Titan. It's all about timing and prediction.
Reactive allies force your opponent to play differently. If they know you have an ally that can intercept scorch damage, they have to think twice before committing to that kind of attack. It's a mind game.
The designers also went deep on classifying these companions. They're not just generic helpers, there are distinct types of allies that signal their battlefield role.
And this is where deck building gets really interesting. For example, you have Taskwrights. As the name implies, these allies are all about manipulating tasks.
Let's look at a concrete example. Lyra Coilwright, a Taskwright. Her effect is simple but powerful. When a task is played, you reduce its cost by 1 charge.
Imagine you're playing a Drafter or Solaritan deck, trying to chain multiple tasks in one turn. Lyra hits the board, and suddenly your whole strategy accelerates. Your turn goes from good to game-winning.
Then you have the Junkborn, the masters of recursion. They interact with your junkyard, your discard pile.
An ally like Venick of the Rustward lets you move 1 card from your junkyard to the bottom of your deck at the end of every turn. It's a slow, steady trickle of value. The control decks like Verdesia or Kleptorix absolutely love.
It prevents you from running out of resources in a long, drawn-out match. It's the kind of effect that doesn't seem flashy until it wins you the game on turn 15.
There are also Defenders. Their whole job is to protect your other cards. Mirren Splice Watcher is a great one. Her text reads, --. Intercept the first Flux or Scorch card targeting a tool each round.
She just sits there, soaking up a key piece of your opponent's disruption, letting you protect that critical engine piece you need to win. She's a lightning rod for removal.
And it gets even more complex. Echo-bonded allies who sync with your fading EchoForms.
Or the rust-marked, hybrid allies that actually get stronger when they take damage. These are often found in decks that flirt with corruption, like those of Fusio or Calypsis.
It's a massive design space. And it all comes back to that core loop of the game, that constant rhythm.
And that rhythm is worth remembering. Every single turn, every Titan turn, draw. Charge, building, act, clash, end, 6 steps. Infinite ways to forge your victory.
All right, so we know what allies are. We know the different types. Now let's talk strategy. How do you decide which 2 allies deserve a spot in your deck?
The first question you have to ask is, what is my deck's core loop? What am I trying to do every single turn? Your allies should reinforce that.
The second question is the inverse. What is my deck's biggest weakness? If your strategy is vulnerable to early aggression, you might need a defender. If your weaves are unstable, you need an ally with the anchor keyword. They plug the holes.
Absolutely. Let's look at Cedra of the Cracked Glyph. Her role is Rune Anchor. Her effect? Prevent weave collapse if 2 or more weaves are active. For a deck like Glyphia, that's not just helpful. It's essential. She's an insurance policy.
This brings up the idea of timing, too. Advanced players don't just slam an ally down on turn 1. They use them as tactical pivots. Many allies have a recall keyword.
Meaning you can voluntarily remove them from the field for a powerful one-time effect.
That's a high-level play. You have your ally on the board, providing its passive bonus, and then, at the critical moment, you recall it. You trigger a huge effect your opponent wasn't expecting.
It turns your ally from a persistent engine piece into a surprise finisher. It's about knowing when to switch gears from value to tempo.
Let's also talk about counterplay. How do you deal with an opponent's allies? They only have 2 slots, but if they stick the right ones, it can feel impossible to break through.
Targeted removal is the most direct answer. Many Flux cards can specifically target cards in the ally zone. You have to save that removal for the most impactful ally. Don't waste it on a minor threat.
There's also indirect counterplay. If your opponent has an ally that gets value from them playing task cards. Maybe you focus on disrupting their hand so they have fewer tasks to play. You attack the engine the ally is supporting.
That's a great point. You don't always have to destroy the ally itself. Sometimes you just have to make it irrelevant. Make its abilities useless by changing the state of the game.
So let's break this down further. Who uses allies?
Well, everyone can, but they shine in certain archetypes. Control and support decks, Verdesia, Locara, Solaritan. They love the value over time that allies provide.
Combo decks like Drafter or Mirix? Use them to assemble their win conditions more consistently. And even Rust adaptive decks like Chivolt use specific Rust-marked allies.
And that's the why. Why are they important? They enhance flexibility, they create fail-safes, they enable micro-combos. But more than that, they enrich the narrative. Every ally is a named character from the world of Heroria. They make your deck feel less like a pile of cards, and more like a living guild.
That narrative point is so crucial. These aren't just card number 27 with +1 power. This is Basil, the Hollow Steel Guide. An echo-bonded ally. When one of your EchoForms fades, he lets you gain a charge and draw a card.
That's mechanics and story, woven together perfectly. And that brings us to the strengths and weaknesses. The biggest strength of an ally is that they are persistent. They stick around.
But that's also their biggest weakness. They have low tempo. An ally rarely produces a huge, game-swinging effect the moment it hits the board. It's an investment.
And because they're persistent, they're also vulnerable. Your opponent has time to find an answer, to disrupt them.
And you only have those 2 slots. If you play an ally that isn't pulling its weight, it's just clogging up valuable board space. Many allies are also synergy dependent. They need the right timing, the right game state to truly shine.
It's a fascinating balancing act. The designers have created a card type that is powerful, but not in an obvious, flashy way. Their power is subtle. It's about resilience and support.
There's a note in the design insight that I think sums it up perfectly. It says, allies are the bridge between action and intention. They are the loyal, narrative-bound agents of trade who serve not by brute force, but by shaping the board's conditions, its rhythm, and its resilience.
They turn your deck into a guild, not just a machine.
I love that. It captures the soul of the game. You aren't just a general commanding an army. You're a guild leader, working with a team of specialists, each contributing their unique craft.
It makes every match feel more alive. Your Titan is the heart of your strategy, but your allies are the skilled hands that execute the vision. They are the cartographers, the splice watchers, the coilwrights. They are the quiet backbone of your deck.
They are the companions of the forge, loyal, persistent, and absolutely essential for any player looking to master their trade.
So as you build your next deck, don't just focus on the biggest tools or the flashiest titans. Look to the ally zone. Ask yourself who you need standing beside you.
Because in the end, no matter how powerful the titan, victory is a team effort. And it all unfolds with those same 6 moves every single time. In every match of tools and titans, your tradecraft unfolds in 6 simple moves: draw, charge, building,
Act, clash, end.
simplicity for the novice, mastery for the titan,